The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join through in today's webinar. We have been constantly trying to bring you up a lot of interesting subjects, interesting ways on what your testing strategy can look like, what your automation strategy can look like. This one today, we would be talking about how to deliver applications with end-to-end test automation. I'd like to add that for today's webinar, what we would be doing is we'll be starting with a quick overview on the topic, followed by 10 to 15 minutes of your question and answer round, allowing all of your questions to be sent out and answered by me or some of my co-panelists. Just before we get started, all of the attendees will always be on listen-only mode, so you may send out your questions or raise a hand if you have any troubles hearing us or have any challenges in getting the visuals. This is only a screen sharing session, so you won't be seeing us. However, we hope the audio quality and everything is going to be up to mark, helping you in getting the most out of your time. Towards the end of the session, we would be putting the recording of the webinar, which you can share with your colleagues, with your friends, as well as the presentation available to you in a downloadable format into a PDF. So if you do like the subject today, we would request you to come back and download the material or keep it for a reference once it becomes available on our website. Okay, so with that said, I'll be getting started. My name is Premal Dave. I am the General Manager at TestingWhiz. To give a little bit of background onto who we are, what we do at TestingWhiz, most of you I see from the webinar attendees, a lot of the people who have joined us are part of our usual crowd, usual customers, partners, and fans who regularly attend to our webinar. For some of you who are new, I'll be starting off with a quick introduction. So we have been, TestingWhiz has been providing automation solutions since a long time. We are in our fifth year, transcending into the sixth year. The current version is called is 5.1. TestingWhiz actually started off as a focused way for offering automation solutions to our customers. We work with enterprise to offer them unique solution which does not require them to have to write complex programming languages or code to develop automation scripts. We work very closely with customers to help them in achieving their quality objectives. What we mean by that is we help you in building the right products, improving the quality and reliability of the apps and the solutions that you build for your end customers or your end users. We help you do that with a pace and a speed, and we also deliver the right innovation and help you save time and cost in doing so. There is a lot of information which is available about TestingWhiz and some of the popular blogs, portals, etc. You can also log on to our website. It's www.testingwhiz.com and look at all the information. On today's webinar, we would be talking about, so the subject is about testing end-to-end application, and we'll be talking about how to test front-end and the user interaction to ensure accurate interactions between your application and your end customer with the right experience across different environments. Then we will be moving on to how to validate your application with ability to run your tests across databases, which would essentially go to the core of your application and allow you to test the backend system of your application or the core of the system, including the data validation, etc. We'll be also testing an end-to-end business logic across different protocols and how to verify application response over different APIs and its corresponding processes. It's very common for most of our users, customers, even you guys to have an end-to-end API integration with third-party systems, payment gateways, booking engines, etc., or simply just integrating your own line of business applications using API. Today's webinar will also cover aspects around how you can test your API, what tools are available out there, and what are the best practices. Finally, we'll be talking about testing the application into multiple tiers, into multiple workflows using continuous integration cycle. There is a Jenkins integration available for TestingWhiz, and we also integrate with some of the other tools out there, allowing you to integrate and implement continuous integration. Finally, we'll be talking about some of our customers, some case studies, and then stopping up for a quick question and answer. We frequently get from our customers that when they wish to test an application using manual approach to test end-to-end, it takes up a lot of time, or it simply isn't possible for them to do that. Some of the reasons or some of the challenges that we frequently come across are it's very hard to test continuously for frequent code changes. So when something changes, you have a new release or you have a new update, or even your browser behaves in a different, your application behaves in a browser in a different way, or you wish to just test and run some functional scenarios, it's very hard to cope up with all these changes happening all the time. It's also delays to test when you're testing your application in parity with different third-party integrations, or testing in tandem with other systems, other line of business applications that you need to keep up to speed with. It also increases the cost if you go about testing your application on each platform every time you have a new build or a new regression set, or even simply just the regular smoke test. But it's impossible to do that, to test it on all the applications, all the platforms, all the time. And then finally, difficulty in maintaining your test. Be it manual, be it automated, it's very hard to constantly keep updating information, keep updating your data, keep updating the objects that you frequently going to be testing with into your processes. So how to test the application and ensure it is in the right health? The answer lies in doing an end-to-end automation. So why end-to-end automation? What is end-to-end automation? With TestingWhiz, we refer it to ability to not only test your application, but also test your application on different platforms, including browsers, mobile responsive views, etc. Testing the APIs to see if the responses and the requests are going through and receiving back into your application accurately, and then finally testing the core of your application. So this helps in confirming the application's health quickly and effectively across all different layers, which might be functioning throughout your life cycle of the application. So how to perform testing your application on an end-to-end way? Very quickly, TestingWhiz works with most of your application layers. So on the top of here, you would see that there are different approaches which you can use. You can carry out UAT testing or black box testing for your application, or test different ways or carry out different types of tests on your application, right from UI test to integration test to data validation test, and then finally extending it to web services. So TestingWhiz essentially allows you to program your test and automate your test that would be a combination of different browsers, different web servers. You can test individual UI component or UI process components. You can test if the buttons are working fine, if the images are being loaded accurately. There are tons of features available to do that. And then in addition to that, you also can test an end-to-end business scenario, business workflow, which might be starting off from your main form and going up to some of the workflows that you run behind your application, or some of the business processes that you've automated using your application. You can also create end-to-end regression test using TestingWhiz, and then finally go or dig deeper into your data layer, where you can automate testing of your data access components, data helper utilities, and service agents. TestingWhiz also has a full-fledged support for mobile testing, so you can not only test your mobile web, but also mobile native applications. We also have support for web services. We support both SOAP and RESTful API testing, which works perfectly for all types of responses and requests, both HTTP and HTTPS. So how to test front-end and UI to ensure accurate interactions and experience across different environments. So TestingWhiz offers the ability to run cross-browser tests via your own computers or via cloud execution. And we also have a visual recorder that tests or works on UI-based automation, which identifies what you need to test and where you need to test. It works seamlessly both on web and desktop, but primarily it is a helper function for your web application. So while our core focus continues to be automating web and cloud apps, the visual recorder extends it to the next paradigm. Talking about how TestingWhiz works, so any test that you create using TestingWhiz is compatible with all sets of browsers. All you need to do is to have those browsers installed onto your computer or have them installed into your network grid. We help testing application across different platforms, OSs, or you can combine your test with different OS, different browser combinations. Browsers are rapidly changing. There are always new ones available. So you can always run your test and run your regression suites on a couple of browsers in the same time using different features available within TestingWhiz. We also integrate with third-party tools like BrowserStack and Sauce Labs to test apps without the need to invest into licensing of different OSs, different browsers if you don't have the right infra. And this is also a great way for you to extend your application or run your test into a parallel way. Moreover, the visual recorder, which I just spoke about, helps in automating application on different desktop apps, widgets, or Flash, or any kind of rich internet application that you might be, or rich internet toolkit that you might be using, including Flash, Flex, or Microsoft Silverlight. It works on a principle of UI automation. So there is a recorder available. All you need to do is to select the area that you wish to record or wish to automate, record those tests, and then let the visual recorder do its thing. We have a quick demo on all these things, which we will be running you through in the short while, so you can understand how these all features would work on an actual scenario. It also takes a lot of time to ensure that what data you're getting on your application and testing the backend operations. So TestingWhiz, with us, we allow you to test the databases. We integrate with different databases, including 5 primary RDBMS technologies and 2 big data solutions, including Teradata and Hadoop. We are also building more and more support every day into our system to automate end-to-end database testing for you. How it works is we offer JDBC connectors that work with any kind of database. All you need to do is to connect to your database, provide your username and password. Once integrated, it's a fairly simple way. You can drag and drop any kind of function that you would want to run, right from fetching the information or fetching the query or storing that information onto a data table or an Excel sheet as an output to compare or validate if the information is correct. For people who are running dashboards or data-intensive applications, you can also simplify that by testing and comparing and validating information that you have on your UI, which can be your web page or a screen, and validating if that information matches with what you have or what you expect in a particular row or column on TestingWhiz. Furthermore, testing of business logic for validating applications behavior across different protocols. How you can do that? TestingWhiz allows you to run data validation tests along with data generation, and we offer editable object properties that allows you to frequently change or update your test as they change. There are a few features that allows you to run tests, including comparing, checking or validating information which is available on your application. It can be a text, a number, the correct size of the font, if the image is exactly where you intended it to be, or you can have any kind of data validation which you can then test with your application. It can be in tandem with different types of data sets. You can run any type of positive, negative, or even complex data validation exercises on your application if there is user interaction, user behavior, which you anticipate your application to go through. We also offer, in such scenarios, ability to generate your test data. I would repeat that we allow you the ability to generate test data, which means that if you don't have a test data management, if you don't have a proven way of generating test data and reusing it when you test your application, TestingWhiz can actually do that for you. You can generate the test data right from 1,000 records to as much as 20,000, 40,000 test records. You can have a variety of names, emails, phone numbers, birth dates, even dummy credit card information, which you can then upload onto your application, your system, your forms, to see if the forms are working as they should, and combine them with different scenarios. For some users, this also serves or helps in creating a different ability to test the backend, which means that, can your application allow 50 users to submit information, what is the application strength, etc., and if all the workflows which are designed to work are working as they are working. You can also scale this test with different scenarios and different environments. A lot of these browsers today offer different ways where you can interact with your application. A pop-up or a dialog box on Safari would definitely look different on Google Chrome, and that's all that you can test with TestingWhiz. Moreover, we offer the ability to edit your object properties. If you have any objects or web objects that you keep frequently changing in your application, there is an object builder where you can go and update these object information or details. Object details are captured when you record this, any kind of script using the inbuilt recorder, or if you go out and provide the object manually, which is providing an ID or an XPath to your object to build a new test case. That's something that you can do and update using TestingWhiz. I've been talking about web services. This is one of our unique features where TestingWhiz allows you to test not only your application at the UI functional level, but also write tests which would automate the process of testing the web services. There are a few handy features that you can see. If you do go ahead and take an interest into one of our free trials, the tests are also available under the sample test cases. However, what it does is if you have an API that your application talks to or integrates with, you can write a test which would automatically send out a request. It can be a GET or a POST request to your API. You would see on the presentation here, I have a dialog box open that talks about what URL or the API URL I would like to run this test with. What would be the method? Is it a GET? Is it a POST? And then you can actually type in the request that you would want to query and get the response back from the API. These information can be stored. You can also create a program test that would run in conjunction with your UI test as well as your API test. So it's very interactive. You can always cross and combine different ways to build your test. You can input some information from a form and then query the API into your system to see if the order was generated or if the correct information was received via the API. Finally, we allow you to test application architecture and multi-tier workflows in a continuous cycle. So how we do that? TestingWhiz, in principle, is a codeless tool. Interestingly, for any users to start to build test cases, it doesn't take more than a few days to install the tool and get started. We offer a host of smart controls, including intelligent object eyes and input recorders to help you verify your application workflow. What you can do is you can use any of the available recording features or write test by simply dragging and dropping the test commands. The functions are keyword driven, so if you do decide to test, all your functions and keywords would be available to you as test commands. You can sequence your test, or you can make your test modular by using some of the features, including methods, which logs all your frequently used tests, including information such as your username and password, which can be saved and used commonly across your test project. You can use the recorder to boilerplate your test and then build more reliability, more information, or more intelligence into your test. You can logically sequence your test or have more validations, information added. There's a quick use case around this which we would be showing you today right after we are done with the presentation. Moving on, if you do happen to be using one of the continuous integration systems like Jenkins or Bamboo or anything else, or even Microsoft TFS, TestingWhiz does have an API which allows you to schedule your tests using Jenkins. So as you would see from the screenshot here, we have a Jenkins screen that allows you to select automated test scheduling. All your TestingWhiz scripts can be synced with Jenkins. You can have a continuous integration. So as long as someone, or as soon as someone changes or updates any information onto your build, or anyone updates or adds more code into your build, then TestingWhiz scripts can run in an automated way, and you can see the results and the health of your builds right on the Jenkins UI. It's very responsive, it's very fast, and it removes the whole concept of having manual intervention and allows you to implement continuous integration and also implement continuous delivery if you have all the other tools figured out in your test process. So we will be stopping here with the presentation and moving into the second leg of our demo today. I have a few use cases that I would be walking you through, which I've created with the help of my colleagues and my co-panelists. We would be showing you how to test a web form on a cloud via browser stack, or how to validate information from a database and run data-driven tests. We will also be showing you a small test on validating response from RESTful API. Once again, the entire webinar recording and the demo is available on your across. It's being recorded and will be available on our web page, so you can always go back and refer to it or log on to our YouTube channel once the live session is done. We'll be pausing here for a minute and moving into the second session. I'm just trying to fire up the demo screens here, and it should be available any moment to you now. Okay, fantastic. So what we have here is the testing screen. This is an actual test, so what we do is we have different kind of tests that we've created today. The first one here talks about a UI check test. What we have done is we have recorded a test using the inbuilt recorder. We have a few ways you can record your test, and then once I've created my test, I have added some more validations. I have added information like getting the attribute. All these functions, all these commands are very handy. You can always use them from here. You can use any kind of information and drag and drop this into your application. So I can count my table column, or for example, get context, get text, values, anything from my web page, and store that into a variable which I can use in real time with my test. So I will go ahead and execute this test. All of our tests are keyword driven and compatible with multiple sets of browsers. So all you need to do is, once your tests are created, hit execute and it would start running them. So this is kicking off the test. Our first test actually goes to our own website, to TestingWhiz.com, and fills up information on the form. Then it would be verifying if the information is, if the font size is accurate or not, and provides the information here. So what we've done is we've compared the expected and the actual matching attributes. If the expected result does match the actual result, then fail, and if it matches, we'll be counting the text size, the download button text, etc. You would see in a detailed log which becomes available, including the test. All the test case results are available in a very intuitive bar chart and information which you can then showcase or share with your different colleagues. So this was one of our first tests, which talks about UI checks. The second test we would be doing, creating the database. So what we are doing is we have an application which we would be firing up. We will be creating or inputting some information onto the web form, and then finally putting and submitting the information, and then going in and creating the database to fetch if the information is captured correctly. So all this information would be captured into our database. Actually, the test data set, the feature is available as data table inside TestingWhiz. We would be emptying all the information and then running the test to capture information here in the database real time from the form. So as soon as I kick off, my test starts to run. It would execute some of the steps and go to inputting information on the web form here. This is the real-time information we are putting in from the web file. It is available now, and we would be fetching the results and querying the database to see if the results are being updated or etc. So the data table that we saw on the web page was captured now, and it's available here into TestingWhiz. We are also fetching the recent information or the last information which we have updated on the application. I'm not sure if all the screen sizes can see this. We will try to run this test again just to ensure that all of you can see what is happening here. So again, the test goes to the website, logs into it, and then goes to the form, keys in the information, and then once this ends, it will capture all the information which you see on this table, but instead of fetching it from the main screen or scraping it from the web page, we are inputting an information or capturing the information through a database command. We are connecting to this database, selecting the query, and then fetching the results into a data table in real time. So this is one of the ways where you can run your database validation test. Moving on to our API validation or API test, what we have is an API which would go in and capture information for today's stock for one of the popular companies, Infosys. And then we are validating the information from API onto Google. So let me go back to that step. What we'll be doing is we are executing the web service, and we are getting the recent value from the NSE and getting the stock prices, storing it into a variable, and then moving it into Google, and then comparing if the prices are accurate. So API tests can be combined with desktop UI. You can also extend your API test by implementing or parameterizing your values. So the same test can get sent out multiple requests. It can be imported from an Excel sheet or parameterized as a variable inside TestingWhiz, which you can then run. So your test can have the same API, or the same API, or the same command you can have, or the same URL you can have up to n number of queries or questions or requests that you can send out and get a response back. Finally, this is a very interesting case where we would be uploading an information from a web page. Now, there are lots of tools available in the market that offer web test automation, but none of them can work with none of them can have everything combined right from your UI to your database to your API and your desktop automation. What this test here shows is our ability to run or upload any information. This is a helping function for if you wish to run your test or upload information from UI or UI screen. What this allows you to do is to scroll for a file or search for a file from your desktop and upload that information onto a web page. So this can work for any kind of text files, image files, PDF, or any kind of test commands or desktop commands that you need to run. If it means about starting up your server or starting up your services, that's also something that you can do using this feature. The visual recorder also works on all kind of Flash, Flex, or even difficult to automate web objects. It's a UI-based recording, so as long as the image is available or screen is available, these tests work without any issues. Those are some of the use cases that we wanted to show today. There are a few case studies, etc., that we can talk about. I would be making the presentation available for you to go there. But these variety of test cases allows and gives you an information into how your end-to-end test can be created, how you can have an integration test created, or how you can test your end-to-end application on different browsers, mobile controls, etc. With that said, we would be stopping here for a Q&A. I thank you all for attending today's webinar. You can type in your questions or raise your hand to ask any of your questions. Okay, we have a question from test data management and data-driven testing from Jeffrey. I'm just going to read this out loud. Hi there, can you automate application if my database or my data set is available in a CSV file or an Excel sheet? And if it is available on a text file. So Jeffrey, we offer automation ability to run your test or import your test data from an Excel sheet or a CSV file. We don't have the ability to import text format, but if you can import your text format into an Excel sheet, or if you can key in all your information or convert your data set into an Excel sheet, it does work. Okay, we have another question from Howard. And thank you for asking this question, Howard. Is this suitable for one non-technical tester for a web-based SaaS CRM? Yes, we have, like I said, TestingWhiz works on a codeless principle. You don't have or need to have any kind of programming skills or know or understand any programming languages. It's completely user-friendly. You can record your test or build your test using the test editor. There are a few ways you can do that. Actually, 3 to 4 ways you can do that. We also have customers who are automating some of the CRM systems like Salesforce, etc. And we have also offer professional services for users who wish to jumpstart their automation, which means that if you have a backlog of manual tests which you would want to automate, that's something that TestingWhiz experts will help you do that as a professional service, and then set up all your tests to run or for you to maintain by your own. We also offer training programs, etc. That allows you to jumpstart and expand your automation testing into your team. Yes, so we have 2 questions. I would start with in the chronological order. We have the first question from Adediran Ounlala. I hope I'm pronouncing it the right way. But hi there. Can I use TestingWhiz to validate example an Avro file format being ingested via Flume and Spark to successfully be inserted into HDFS or HBase as part of if the overall system architecture DRAM? I'm not sure if I'm getting your question, but what you can do with TestingWhiz is you can validate Okay, question from Adrian is on big data. I will take that up and get back to you. On today's session, I don't have one of my big data experts. Also, I know for sure that we don't offer integration with Flume or Spark. But yeah, if you have something that you file information you can insert into HDFS or HBase as long as your data is structured. Okay, I'm moving on to, I'm sorry if I haven't been able to answer your question accurately, Adediran, but I will take this up and get back to you personally or have someone reach out to you via email. A couple of other questions. The second one from, actually we have 3 questions from Howard and 1 from Vinay. I'll answer Vinay's question first and move on to Howard. So Vinay has asked, hi, this is very new to me. I'm using Selenium, but here my question is, can you automate dynamic iframes? Yes, absolutely. You can automate dynamic iframes. You can also automate SVG elements and AngularJS framework-based applications. So yes, Vinay, do try it out. Do reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to show you on a personalized demo on how this works. Another question from Howard is, would you recommend implementing TestRail before implementing the automation software? So TestRail, I believe, is, as far as my understanding, if you might be referring to a test management solution. So yeah, if you have a process of implementing a test management system, TestingWhiz offers integrations with TestLink, which is an open source test management system. You can implement that, or even if you have TestRail, that's also a good alternative for you to implement test management into your system. The next question is, does it integrate with Jira out of the box? So yes, TestingWhiz does integrate Jira out of the box, and you can have, as soon as something fails, you can have ability to integrate or log a defect with a push of a button into your system. We have two more questions, one from Gerard and the other one for Mark. I will start with answering Gerard's question first, as it came in earlier. To answer your question, Gerard, what are the possibilities for modularized test cases or parts of test cases? For example, login is always necessary for recording this once and reuse that is a must-have. So yes, we have ability to store your frequently used test steps like login or passwords, etc., into a web method. And what you can do is, instead of having all these steps manually copied onto each test case, you can store them in a single location, and can point your test cases or your test scenario to that location, where if you have 10 test cases, all 10 test cases would fetch the information from a method, which is a subset to a test step, and instead of manually keying in your username and password, it would go and check for where you have stored your username and password and have it reused across your test project. So yes, it is possible. It's available under methods, and I will have one of my colleagues reach out to you to showcase how that works. Mark has asked if you integrate with TeamCity. Yes, we have an API. It does take a little bit of a customization to integrate with TeamCity, but if you have your build management and your configuration management happening using TeamCity, we can implement an integration with TeamCity. We have a couple of more minutes. If you guys have any questions or anything, you can reach out to us, or send in your questions via our website. There are tons of videos, information which you can download. Okay, another question from Gerard is, integration with a version control system like Git, etc. possible? No, we don't have an out-of-the-box version control system. However, I understand if you want to version your test cases, you can create folders and map your folders with one of the SVN systems. There are a lot of SVN systems available, even open source, which you can integrate it with. One of the SVN systems that we recommend is Tortoise SVN. And if Git is your part of must-have, then that customization, or there is also a plugin that we can customize for you for your use. Okay, thanks again for raising all these interactive questions. They are very interesting, and I hope we have been able to answer them. After the webinar, we would reach out and I'll send you out detailed text response to your questions. In the next 24 to 48 hours, you will receive emails from me or one of my colleagues giving you information on your questions. If you have any questions which we could not answer today, like the one on big data, you can always email us on info@testingwiz, or log on to our website and download a trial to see it yourself. Once again, thank you all for joining in, and I wish you a great week ahead and look forward to seeing you all in the next session. Thanks and have a great day.